Hi, welcome back to our series, Do Fix Differently. Today we're going to do things a little bit differently, and we're going to actually talk to somebody who's doing something very interesting in the market. We're going to talk to Gregg Drumma of Gamma 3 Trading, who has a really interesting fixed simulator product which has been very, very useful for a lot of firms doing their fixed testing. So welcome, Greg.
Hi, thank you for having me, Chris.
Great. I know all about your company, Gamma 3 Trading, but a lot of our viewers won't. So can you just spend a few minutes just describing Gamma 3 and what you guys are up to?
Sure, I'll give you a quick background on that. Gamma 3 Trading, we started back in 2010, where we focused on solutions around electronic trading centered around the FIX protocol. Our flagship product is our trade state order management system, which is a web-based trade order management system. And what we're here to talk about today is developing FIX interfaces and FIX integrations. And part of the key to building a successful trade order management system that can integrate with other platforms and broker dealers is to have a robust FIX integration engine that can handle the volumes and handle the different asset classes. So with my experience around the FIX protocol, working with it for over 20 years, having a good testing solution or integration solution to test what you're actually trying to build and achieve is critical. Whether you're trying to integrate and build your own product or to use a vendor solution, you need a way to test. So Gamma 3 Trading, we focus on all of the investment management space. We provide the order management system, FIX integration, some consulting, and of course our FIX testing solution, FIXum.
Oh, great. And so the simulator actually came out of your own personal need to test the software that you guys are building, right?
That's right. It's interesting because we've talked before in the past, but my experience with FIX, working with it in the 90s when I was working for a large trade order management system back then, before there was open source FIX engine, before there was before FIX 4.0, starting back with FIX 3.0 and 4. So early on in the industry, where most people had just their own FIX spec that came from the FIX protocol, they had to build everything, including a testing solution. And what remains today is it did 25 years ago, is if you are building any kind of FIX integration, you need a good testing tool. So when we started building our trade order management system, we looked at some of the vendor solutions out there for what we needed for our FIX testing and realized it was a little more expensive, a little too much than for what we needed to do at the time. So we ended up building our own to test it, but then very quickly it became apparent, like this would make, if we have this problem, there are a lot of other people out there that have this need. And with the about 2012, 2013 is when we realized this would be a great SaaS-based offering where we could offer this on the web, hosted solution, quick kind of connect, get up your testing running without the long implementation process.
Right, that's awesome. That's I think the guys in Silicon Valley would call that scratching your own itch, right? You identified a problem, you fixed it yourself, and then you realize, hey, this thing can, it's going to help other people, which is brilliant, absolutely great. So you mentioned some of your customers there. What type of firm is generally interested in using your simulator product, and how do they use it? Have you come across anybody with any perhaps unusual requests or use cases for it?
Yeah, as you can imagine, sure. There's so our customer base for our FIX testing platform is interesting because the way we priced it and try to structure the product is to support all those from independent software contractors who are perhaps doing a job integrating FIX, perhaps they're new to FIX and they want to actually test against two large broker dealers, investment management shops, global implementation. So we really have a wide customer base as anybody using FIX. We have some of the currency traders, we have some of the equity shops, some of the fixed income shops. So anybody involved in FIX. And so with that, we have a wide variety of workflows. And so some people need something very specific to an asset class or very specific to what message flow they're doing. Sometimes it's even custom messages and custom message flow. We have a client that does payloads of XML within some of their messages, which are FIX standard. They're their own XML standard. So we do work with customers around the customization of it.
Right. I think I read on your website one time that you have customers in every single continent apart from Antarctica. Is that true?
Yes, that was one of those early kind of milestones I thought was kind of funny to put up there, which is true, is that we have customers on every continent and around there. So it isn't just a US or UK centric, the FIX protocol from my history being around, started off, has grown substantially globally over the last 15, 20 years. And early on, when I did some paneling discussions for the FIX protocol, I traveled to different countries to help promote the FIX protocol because it is such an incredible standard success story that globally, not many protocols reach this stage where everyone understands the language of FIX and has chosen this is how you will integrate in terms of trading capability.
Right. Yeah. Excellent. All right. And you mentioned SaaS there, which is a big part of the offering, right? Obviously, SaaS is very much on trend. Lots of people are moving towards at least cloud deployed software and away from the more sort of traditional enterprise installations. Now, you guys are a little bit unique amongst those who are doing the SaaS because it's not just about SaaS as a delivery model, but also SaaS in terms of pricing model. The sort of the per seat level pricing at a much lower level than perhaps fixed software vendors have charged before. Tell us about that. Why do you go that route?
Yeah, first, I mentioned a little bit about just SaaS in general, just in terms of delivering a product, the level of service we can provide in terms of hosting our own solution, patching our own solution, upgrading, adding new features without the kind of drag of a customer downloading, implementing, and installing. It really depends on the product you're trying to solve. In the case of a fixed simulator, it makes perfect sense. That why would I need to have to download and install this? It would be a great thing to have hosted that we can address any kind of issues and adjustments quickly. So that has been enriching. And there has been some kind of discussion with clients and education about why hosting, because the normal questions, which are right to ask, is, well, what about data security, or what am I looking at here? And we provide discussions about how we TLS encrypt everything and how we have an encrypted database and all of that. So that's good. On the other side, on pricing, it's interesting again, because from a product point of view, our fixed simulators, we felt a lot more easily to kind of put into buckets of how we want to price this and be open about that, be transparent about it. When you get into something in like our flagship product, our trade order management system, there are so many variables about the traders, the desk, the volumes, the asset classes. There's a lot, the assets under management, all that comes into play around pricing. But for the fixed simulator part, what we were able to do is say, hang on a minute, I think we have a great idea about how to have a month-to-month, because again, you mentioned Silicon Valley and the way kind of business is that we would like to have a software as a service solution that you can join today, instantaneously start using and know the pricing without a long drawn out sales process. Because from terms of fixed testing, chances are you might need it like, hey, we need it today, right now, to try some testing. Right. So what we've done is provide pricing, which you can see on our website, into buckets to give levels of plans based on the features. And then, of course, if you are a larger shop and have a global implementation with lots of users, then we do customize some plans as well.
Yeah. That's very cool. I definitely hear you in terms of the SaaS delivery mechanism. There's nothing more painful. We know this ourselves as a software vendor that you deploy some software inside of a firm and they lock the door behind them, and you're never able to do upgrades, never able to troubleshoot things effectively. So SaaS delivery is definitely the right way to go.
And just one thing I'll add to that too, that's on the fixed testing side. So if you imagine you can scale that up to your trade order management system. If you got your OMS out there, that you could have that functionality to there, that delivery model where if you need to connect to a new partner, if you need a new trading feature, that is provided to you from a web deployment, that there's nothing to do. So that it carries into the other product line as well. Sometimes it takes a little more discussion about why that's a better model. But two things. One is if you host it, as we do, is provide good service, and two, provide a good API, a way for them to customize and get data into it. So it's been very successful in our model.
And so customization is actually the other thing that always comes up in these conversations is, well, my API is a little bit unique and therefore your simulator needs to represent my unique quirks around my API. How do you handle that? How do you handle all of these, tweaks?
Yep, great question. So when people come to us, well, Fix is a standard, right? So it's just a plain vanilla Fix works for everything, or how you integrate. And as we know, if you've been to it, that's not necessarily the case. Fix has built into it the ability to customize the messages, add some tags. And the way we handle that from our Fix simulator point of view is a couple of ways. One is that you can go right in manually and put in some extra custom tags that are required, or upload a custom data dictionary for validation. We also have a rule builder functionality. So when you're automating your test, you can add rules saying, if I receive an order with a quantity less than this and greater than whatever tags, then perform some action. So from a user point of view, you can define some rules on there without any kind of programming. Then thirdly, I should say, we have our API, which you can directly call in. It's a web-based RESTful API, take actions on the orders and customize some of the logic if you wanted to yourself on how to react. And then always stand by as every solution is if you have something really complex that makes more sense, we could actually go ahead and build that customization for you for your simulator.
Right. Awesome. Sounds like a very flexible tool for people. And what's the future hold? For either Gamma 3 or your simulator or Fix generally. What are your plans?
Yeah. So on the Fix simulator topic, just for example, we've talked before about this. Is that we actually are users ourselves, so we have to. The tool has grown in terms of functionality based on kind of our feedback with our testers and our OMS. So it's something that we use and try to maintain. In terms of going forward with Fix in general, I've had this discussion. In people who are new to Fix, when I talk about what is Fix and how to integrate, they'll quickly look and say, oh, I see the history of the Fix version, so I guess we'll use the latest version, Fix 5.0 SP. And then you're like, well, hold on, what are you trying to achieve? And you realize many people are on Fix 4.2 or Fix 4.4, the older versions. Where it fits, where it works and it fits, it's going to stay there for some part. It will evolve. But as the language is adopted more and more, there's been a lot of investment into the version that they're on or the customization. So the way I see Fix moving forward is there's been a lot of initiatives, with Fix Orchestra, and talk about the Fix JSON formats, because not to bore the viewers too much, we're looking back, again, people who are new to Fix, you look at it, Fix is older than Google, right? We've talked about it. It's older than the web. The origins of this are back in the early 90s. So if you were to design a language technically today, you probably might not do the tag equals value. You look at JSON or other formats. Even I remember in the early 2000s, why isn't it XML? And there is a Fix XML spec, but for the most part, most of the integrations I have done in my years are the tag equals value standard kind of socket connection. So you will see adaptations around Fix about how to translate or how to provide other interfaces to it. But the movement forward is going to be in the coverage of asset classes and workflows post-trade and even more pre-trade about how that will seep in. Even though the spec for years have had those messages defined, I'm seeing more adoption on the post-trade and even some of the pre-trade stuff moving forward.
Right. Interesting. And where do you see that sort of the move towards electronic specifications or machine-readable specifications, things like Fix Orchestra fit in?
Yep. Hugely important, and that's the case of we've talked about from testing from Fix point of view. We have from FixSim, we have the automated testing. Do that. It makes sense for development. Development has to get easier, right? The drive is the market demands that building new interfaces or building new connections out to people has to get better, because as more and more come, people want that, right? You don't want to be here's a spec that's kind of ambiguous and people have to implement it and test it. Is that there's so much room for efficiency here going on. And I think the work with Fix Orchestra and some of the stuff that, Fix Spec that you guys are talking about doing and looking at is incredibly crucial to that. The key is to getting, just like Fix when it started, is getting that everyone on board. They're getting that momentum to get people to start doing something differently. And that can be achieved, but sometimes it's a big hill to get to. But I'm hoping and pushing myself to get to that level.
Yeah, awesome. All right, great. Well, look, thank you so much for spending the time chatting with us today. Just before we leave, why don't you tell everybody here how to get in touch with you, how to sign up for Fix Simulator? What's the best way for them to reach out?
Sure. If you're for our FixSim product, you can go right to its dedicated website. It's www.fixsim.com, FIXSIM.com. On there, we have all the pricing and descriptions and pages up there, and you can contact us for more information. But you can sign up with a credit card right away. We offer some trials that you can look at. And then if you want more information on our other products, you can go to gamma3trading.com, where we have information on our trade state OMS and our other services.
Great. And we'll leave some links in the comments below for anybody who wants to reach out to Gamma 3 or sign up for the FixSim. Otherwise, if you're on our YouTube channel, please don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Gregg, thank you very much for your time. Great chatting to you as always. And see everybody next time for Do Fix Differently.
Thanks, Chris.